Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
The Philadelphia Phillies just dropped a bombshell that has the entire baseball world spinning, and what happened on that fateful Friday morning is sending shockwaves through the organization that nobody saw coming. If you're a Phillies fan, you need to hear this, because what Dave Dombrowski just pulled off might be the most controversial move of the entire offseason, and the implications are absolutely massive for the 2026 season and beyond. Picture this. It's a quiet Friday morning, the kind of day where you're sipping your coffee, scrolling through your phone, maybe thinking about the weekend ahead. Then, bam, out of nowhere, ESPN's Jeff Passan drops a nuclear bomb on Phillies Nation. Matt Strahm, the beloved left-handed reliever who was an all-star just last season, the guy who had been a cornerstone of one of baseball's best bullpens, is suddenly wearing Kansas City Royals blue. Gone, traded, just like that. The collective gasp you heard, that was every Phillies fan simultaneously choking on their morning coffee. But here's where it gets absolutely wild, folks. This wasn't just some random trade that came out of left field. Oh no. Jeff Passan had actually hinted at this the day before, dropping a cryptic note on Thursday that the Phillies were likely to trade Matt Strahm this offseason. It was like he had a crystal ball, and less than 24 hours later, the prophecy came true. The baseball gods had spoken, and Matt Strahm was heading back to Kansas City, the team that originally drafted him way back in 2012, the team where he started his major league journey in 2016. Now let's talk about why this trade feels like a punch to the gut for so many Phillies faithful. Matt Strahm wasn't just good for Philadelphia over the past 3 years since joining the team. He was absolutely elite. We're talking about a left-handed specialist who became one of the most reliable late-inning weapons in the entire National League. His 2024 season, absolutely ridiculous. An all-star campaign that featured a microscopic 1.87 ERA, a mind-blowing 0.75 whip, and 79 strikeouts in just over 62 innings of work. Those are video game numbers, people. That's the kind of dominance that makes opposing hitters wake up in cold sweats. Even when people tried to call 2025 a down year for Strahm, let's be real here. A 2.74 ERA with 70 strikeouts is still elite production from a reliever. Sure, there were some shaky moments, some ups and downs that had fans nervously pacing during crucial situations. But this was still one of the better left-handed relievers in all of Major League Baseball. And here's the kicker that makes this trade even more baffling at first glance. He was only set to make $7.5 million in 2026. In today's baseball economy, where teams are throwing around contracts like monopoly money, $7.5 million for a proven all-star reliever is practically a bargain basement deal. So the $1 million question, or should I say the $7.5 million question, becomes painfully obvious. Why on earth would the Phillies trade away one of their most reliable bullpen arms when the bullpen was arguably their biggest strength throughout the entire 2025 season? Why would you dismantle something that's working? It's like having a championship-winning recipe and suddenly deciding to swap out the main ingredient. The initial reaction was pure confusion mixed with a healthy dose of anger from the fan base. But hold on, because this is where the story takes a fascinating turn. Sometimes in baseball, and in life really, you need to step back from your knee-jerk reactions and look at the bigger picture. After having the entire weekend to process this trade, to really dig into the details and think about the organizational strategy at play here, the move actually starts to make a whole lot of sense. Dave Dombrowski isn't just playing checkers while everyone else is playing chess. This guy is playing four-dimensional chess, while the rest of us are still trying to figure out how the pieces move. Think about the Phillies' bullpen situation before this trade went down. They were absolutely stacked with left-handed relievers. We're talking about an embarrassment of riches with Matt Strahm, Jose Alvarado, and Tanner Banks. That's three quality southpaws in one bullpen, which is almost unheard of in today's game. Most teams would kill to have even one reliable lefty specialist, and the Phillies had three. With Strahm now in Kansas City, the left-handed duties fall to Alvarado and Banks, which still gives them solid options from that side. The bullpen hasn't been gutted. It's been strategically restructured. Here's where Dave Dombrowski's master plan starts to reveal itself. That $7.5 million that was earmarked for Matt Strahm, it's now freed up, sitting there like a loaded gun, ready to be fired at other areas of need. And trust me, the Phillies have needs. The rumor mill has been churning for weeks about JT Realmuto's contract negotiations, which have reportedly hit some serious roadblocks. Maybe, just maybe, that Strahm money becomes the sweetener that brings the beloved catcher back into the fold. Or perhaps Dombrowski has his eyes on a bigger prize. We're talking potential moves for impact infielders, maybe a run at someone like Ketel Marte, or even swinging for the fences with names like Alex Bregman or Bo Bichette. The possibilities are absolutely tantalizing. But here's the thing that has some fans lying awake at night. What if the Phillies traded Matt Strahm and then just pocket the money without making any significant upgrades? What if this is purely a cost-cutting move disguised as strategic roster management? That would be an absolute disaster, the kind of move that would have fans showing up to Citizens Bank Park with pitchforks and torches. The front office better have something up their sleeve, because trading away an all-star caliber reliever needs to be justified with meaningful improvements elsewhere on the roster. Now let's talk about what the Phillies actually got in return for Matt Strahm, because this is where things get really interesting. Enter Jonathan Bolin, a 29-year-old right-handed pitcher who's about to get the opportunity of a lifetime in Philadelphia. This guy was a second-round pick by Kansas City back in 2018, made his major league debut with the Royals in 2023, but his journey to relevance has been anything but straightforward. In 2023, he pitched a grand total of 3 innings across 2 appearances. Blink and you missed his entire season. Then 2024 rolled around, and he got one single appearance where he lasted 2 2 2/3 innings and got absolutely lit up, giving up 6 hits, 3 walks, and 4 earned runs. Not exactly the kind of stat line that makes scouts salivate. But then something clicked for Jonathan Bolin in 2025. He finally got a real opportunity to prove himself at the major league level, bouncing between Kansas City and their minor league affiliates throughout the season. When he was up with the big club, though, he showed some serious promise. A 3.86 ERA with 46 strikeouts in 44-plus innings is solid middle relief production. He picked up 2 holds, showed he could handle multiple innings when needed, and demonstrated some versatility that the Phillies obviously found attractive. Most of his appearances came in the 7th inning, with some 8th-inning work sprinkled in, which tells you the Royals trusted him in relatively important situations. Here's what makes Bolin potentially valuable for Philadelphia. The guy's got stuff. He's primarily a 4-seam fastball pitcher who pairs that heater with a nasty slider, and he's sitting comfortably in the mid to upper 90s with his velocity. That's legitimate big league heat. He mixes in a sinker, curveball, and changeup to keep hitters honest. But the fastball-slider combination is his bread and butter. Given the way the Phillies' bullpen is currently constructed, especially after signing Brad Keller to that 2-year deal, Bolin likely slots into low to medium leverage situations in the middle innings. He's not going to be the next Matt Strahm, at least not right away, but he could be a valuable piece of the puzzle. And here's the financial genius of this move. Jonathan Bolin is set to make just $820,000 in 2026. Read that number again. Under $1 million for a pitcher with legitimate major league stuff who's still in his pre-arbitration years. Compare that to Strahm's $7.5 million, and you're looking at nearly $7 million in salary relief. That's not chump change. That's real money that can be reallocated to other areas of need. Plus, Bolin is under team control through the 2031 season, giving the Phillies 6 years of potential value. Sure, he's out of minor league options, which means they can't just stash him in AAA whenever they feel like it, but that also means he's going to get legitimate opportunities to prove himself at the big league level. But wait, there's more. The Phillies weren't done wheeling and dealing on that crazy Friday. Just a few hours after the Strahm-Bolin trade went down, Dave Dombrowski pulled off another move that flew under the radar but could prove significant. The Phillies acquired Kyle Backus, another left-handed pitcher, this time from the Arizona Diamondbacks, in exchange for minor league outfielder Avery Owusu-Asiedu. After trading away their all-star lefty in Strahm, they immediately restocked with another southpaw. It's like watching a master chess player sacrifice a queen, only to promote a pawn 3 moves later. Kyle Backus is a fascinating character in this story. At 27 years old, turning 28 in January, he's right in that sweet spot age-wise where pitchers either figure it out and become valuable contributors or fade into baseball obscurity. Like Bolin, Backus is under team control through 2031, giving the Phillies a long leash to work with him and develop whatever potential they see. What makes him unique is his delivery. This guy throws from a sidearm or possibly even submarine angle, one of those funky deliveries that gives hitters absolute fits because they don't see it coming from that arm slot. The Phillies don't really have anyone like that in their system, which could make Backus a valuable weapon in specific matchup situations. Now, let's be honest about Backus's 2025 season with Arizona because it wasn't exactly Cy Young caliber work. He posted a 4.62 ERA across 25-plus innings, recorded 10 holds and 2 saves, but allowed opposing hitters to bat .283 against him. Those aren't numbers that scream future closer or even high-leverage reliever. The Diamondbacks primarily used him in the 7th through 9th innings, so he's got experience in pressure situations, but he's clearly still developing and figuring out how to consistently get major league hitters out. Here's the silver lining, though. He was absolutely lights out in the 7th inning specifically, posting 0 earned runs in 8 1/3 innings during that frame. That's the kind of split that catches a front office's attention. The guy the Phillies gave up to get Backus, Avery Owusu-Asiedu, was a 9th-round pick from 2023 who never really developed into a legitimate prospect. He batted .192 in Single-A in 2024 and .258 between Single-A and High-A in 2025. Those are the kind of numbers that tell you a player is just treading water rather than progressing toward the majors. At 22 years old, sure, he's still got time to develop, but he wasn't exactly blocking any pathways or keeping the front office up at night worrying about letting him go. It's a low-risk trade from the Phillies' perspective, acquiring a potentially useful arm while giving up a player who was nowhere near contributing at the major league level. So what does the Phillies' bullpen actually look like now after this Wild Friday trading spree? Let's break it down position by position because the depth chart has been completely reshuffled. At the top of the pyramid, you've got John Duran as the closer, and that's set in stone. The guy proved himself down the stretch and earned that 9th inning role. No questions asked. Then your late inning, high leverage setup guys include Jose Alvarado on the left side, bringing his explosive stuff and occasionally terrifying wildness. Orion Kerkering on the right side, one of the bright young arms in the organization, and Brad Keller, the newly signed right-hander, who gives them another reliable option in the 7th and 8th innings. Moving into the middle relief tier where games are won and lost more often than people realize, you've got Tanner Banks as the left-handed option. Banks has proven he can get outs and eat innings when needed, which is invaluable over a 162-game marathon. Then there's Jonathan Bolin on the right side, the new acquisition, who figures to slot into medium leverage spots where he can continue developing at the major league level. The balance between right-handers and left-handers is still solid even without Strahm, which was clearly part of the organizational thinking. Beyond those core pieces, the Phillies have several other options who could factor into the 2026 bullpen picture. Taijuan Walker is still on the books for the final year of his contract, set to make $18 million, which means he's going to be on the roster barring some unexpected development. He'll continue his dual role between the starting rotation and bullpen, providing flexibility when injuries or fatigue inevitably strike. Zach McCambley, the Rule 5 draft selection from a few weeks ago, represents an intriguing wild card who could force his way into a roster spot with a strong spring training. Seth Johnson, who made brief appearances in 2025, has shown enough to warrant consideration. Kyle Backus, the sidearm specialist just acquired from Arizona, could carve out a niche role. And Max Lazar rounds out the group of potential contributors who'll be fighting for jobs come March. The fascinating thing about all these bullpen moves is what they reveal about Dave Dombrowski's philosophy and the organization's direction. This isn't just about 2026. This is about building sustainable success, maintaining financial flexibility, and maximizing value across the roster. Matt Strahm was turning 35 years old and had 1 year left on his deal. The Phillies got value for him now rather than watching him walk away in free agency or potentially decline with age. They replaced him with younger, cheaper options who provide team control for years to come. It's the kind of unglamorous but intelligent roster management that championship organizations execute consistently. But here's the elephant in the room that Phillies fans need to keep front and center in their minds. These moves only make sense, these trades only become justifiable if Dave Dombrowski follows through with meaningful upgrades elsewhere on the roster. Trading away an all-star reliever to save $7 million is only smart if that money gets reinvested into the team, whether that's bringing back JT Realmuto, acquiring an impact bat for the lineup, or making another significant addition. Something needs to happen. If the Phillies enter 2026 with essentially the same roster, minus Matt Strahm, with that money just pocketed as profit, the fan base will rightfully revolt. The offseason is far from over, and spring training is still a few months away, but the foundation is being laid right now for what the 2026 Phillies will look like. Will they be contenders capable of breaking through and winning that elusive World Series championship that's eluded this franchise since 2008? Will the bullpen remain one of their strengths despite the Strahm trade, or will it become a weakness that costs them games in crucial moments? Can Jonathan Bolin and Kyle Backus develop into reliable contributors, or will they be footnotes in baseball transaction history? These are the questions that will define the season ahead. One thing we know for certain, Dave Dombrowski isn't afraid to make bold moves, to shake up the roster, to challenge conventional wisdom. Whether you love these trades or hate them, whether you think trading Matt Strahm was genius or madness, you can't argue that this offseason has been boring. The Phillies are trying to thread an incredibly difficult needle, competing for championships right now, while also maintaining financial flexibility and thinking about the future. It's the kind of high-wire act that requires skill, timing, and more than a little bit of luck. As we head into the new year and start counting down the days until pitchers and catchers report, Phillies Nation needs to stay vigilant, stay engaged, and keep demanding excellence from this organization. The trades are happening, the roster is being reshaped, and the 2026 season is taking form before our eyes. Whether these moves look brilliant or disastrous will ultimately be decided on the field in the heat of competition when games are on the line and championships hang in the balance. And the Matt Strahm era in Philadelphia is over, closed suddenly and somewhat controversially on a Friday morning that nobody will soon forget. But new chapters are beginning with Jonathan Bolin, Kyle Backus, and whoever else Dave Dombrowski brings into the fold. The bullpen will look different in 2026, but different doesn't necessarily mean worse. It just means change, evolution, adaptation. And in baseball, as in life, the teams and players who adapt best are usually the ones who succeed. So, to all the Phillies faithful out there, to everyone who bleeds red pinstripes and dreams of October glory, keep the faith but hold the front office accountable. Demand that these moves lead to tangible improvements. Expect excellence. Settle for nothing less than a genuine World Series contender. The trades have been made. The roster is being rebuilt. Now we wait to see if Dave Dombrowski's vision becomes reality, or if these Friday moves will be remembered as the beginning of the end for this particular championship window. The baseball world is watching Philadelphia right now, wondering what comes next, speculating about future moves, debating whether trading Matt Strahm was brilliant or foolish. Only time will tell the full story, but one thing's for sure. This offseason has been anything but boring, and there's plenty more action to come before the first pitch of 2026. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and never stop believing that this could finally be the year. Because in baseball, hope springs eternal, and every offseason brings the promise of glory. Now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think about the Matt Strahm trade? Was Dave Dombrowski a genius, or did he just make a massive mistake? Do you believe Jonathan Bolin and Kyle Backus can fill the void left by an all-star reliever? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I want to hear from every single one of you. Smash that like button if you're ready for what promises to be an absolutely wild ride in 2026. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single update as this offseason continues to unfold with more trades, signings, and shocking developments. and hit that notification bell, because you know more breaking news is coming and you'll want to be first to know when it drops. Let's build this community together and ride this roller coaster all the way to October. Go Phillies.